Forgive me, I have massive bedhead. I just got the fuck up. And I saw, hey, the Cleveland Guardians made a roster move. Let's see what it is. It's this Pulsewell coming off the IL. It wasn't Chase DeLauter, guys. It wasn't Chase DeLauter. It wasn't CJ Kafis. It wasn't any of those good hitters in the minor league system. The people that we actually need. It was just a pitching move. I'm so sick of this fucking team. I just gotta be honest with you guys. I'm so fucking sick of this team. The bullshit platoons. The bullshit. Oh, we could hit some of the time. You got buck 35, Jonathan Rodriguez. What is he doing on the team? This asks the question. Why do we keep giving this guy chances? Is it because he has options? Is that why? I mean, I know John Kenzie Noel only has one option left, and we just used it. So when we call him up, he's going to be on the team or he's getting cut in the next month. I get that, but why the fuck do we have Jonathan Rodriguez on the team again? He stinks. He's fucking terrible. He needs to be a trade asset or he's going to be stuck in the minor leagues for eternity. And I've accepted that. No offense to Jonathan Rodriguez. If he hits great, I'll give him props. I just want him to hit good and play good baseball. But guess what, guys? He hasn't. And it's not because, he sucks. It's because he's not getting playing time. Because Stephen Vogt doesn't believe in Jonathan Rodriguez. I got a feeling that Stephen Vogt doesn't like this roster at all. And the front office is saying, hey, go fuck yourself. We're not going to help you at all. And, the platoons are complete horseshit. I don't know why Kyle Manzardo and Daniel Schneemann are not getting full-on playing time. I'm sure Stephen Vogt would love to give that to them, but I'm sure the front office is all concerned about statistics and all. I mean, there's no reason. There's no reason why the second best, player in OPS should be on the bench. There's just no explanation for that. And as a stats guy, over there, Antonetti, you got to just say, hey, Kyle Manzardo needs to be a full-time starter. I don't care if he plays first. I don't care if he plays DH. Even though first is not his strong suit, okay? Santana is pretty good. He's probably going to be traded. Unless, and I don't know, because Antonetti, he loves veteran players. In that press conference, he was like, you know what? We don't want to bring up Chase DeLauter because we're concerned that he can't play 5 to 6 games a week, and we don't want to give time away from the veteran players. So what you're telling me is you'd rather be fine with a buck 69 Lane Thomas and a buck 35 Jonathan Rodriguez and a buck 75 Bo Naylor and a 211 Nolan Jones. Is that what you're telling me right now, Antonetti? Are you fucking kidding me? You'd rather not see a 325 fucking Chase DeLauter, 30 game base streak, or you don't want to see a back to back Grand Slam CJ Kafis. Those guys are gonna be box office. Okay, even if they stink in the major league system, they're gonna be box office because that's what the fans want. Okay, if they want asses in seats, bring those fuckers up. But the problem is the Cleveland Guardians fan base, they will buy any ticket. They'll just go in there and purchase anything. They don't. They just want to watch the Cleveland Guardians because, Jose Ramirez has got to be fed up with this, right? He's got to be. After all of this time taking a pay cut for the team, all of this stuff, and they're just treating him like shit. I'm surprised he doesn't request a trade right now. The team is fucking dog shit, and it's because Antonetti's a piece of shit. And it all comes down to Dolan. Now, I know Dolan has sold the team, and it's on like a waiting period or whatever. Why don't we just get rid of the waiting period and get him out? You know what I mean? Let's just bring in our new owner. I'm sure he'll spend. Hopefully. Um, God, this team is fucking terrible. And the problem is at the trade deadline, we're probably not going to do much. We're probably going to just trade Lane Thomas for a pitching piece probably. We're not going to get any hitting. If we get hitting, I'll be very shocked because this team doesn't know how to hit. Because we'll probably get another right-hander that can't hit the baseball, unless it's Ozuna. Then I'm cool with Ozuna. It's just the fact that that's going to be a very big price tag to get him. So I wonder what we're gonna give up because Kyle Manzardo should be a Cleveland Guardian for life. Okay, let's just get serious for a second. Daniel Schneemann, he is not a trade asset you don't want to get rid of. I think we got to get rid of either Arias or Rocchio. No offense to those two players, but those guys are either really good or really dog shit. And we can't have that. We got to have consistent defense and offense, okay? You know, I get Rocchio. Rocchio, I hope him nothing but the best right now because he got called up because Arias got hurt. I hope Rocchio hits the ball well. I just, I just don't want to see, because every time I see, Arias or Rocchio stink, I think of Francisco Lindor and how he's been doing great in the Mets organization. We could have had him right now if we just fucking paid him like he was our, he wanted. But Dolan didn't want to pay him. Dolan, guys, he's cheap as fuck. He said, you know what? Fuck you, Lindor. We're not gonna pay you. We're gonna fucking get rid of you. That simple. We're gonna trade you. It's just like fuck right off. This whole thing after the 2016 shit. I think we went all in for in 2017. I'm pretty sure. The memory. I'm just so bad. I can't think of anything right now. We need to go all in. It's very simple. We made the ALCS last year. Just think about that. We made the ALCS last year, and we sold at the deadline. We sold. We fucking sold. We didn't pay Matthew Boyd. He literally called Stephen Vogt and said, I'm sorry I signed with the Cubs. You guys didn't offer me anything. I'm so sorry. I wanted to come back so bad. That's what he said to Stephen Vogt. He said I wanted to come back. I and guess what? Dolan didn't give him shit. Fucking Alex Cobb's gone. That guy was good. Barring injuries, he was good. Matthew Boyd, he was good. But now you got, Slade Ciccone. He's good. I like Slade Ciccone, but it costs us Josh Naylor. And Naylor, he's on the trade block in Arizona. I don't want to get him again. No offense to Josh Naylor, but we have too many first basemen, clearly. Santana and then, Manzardo. And then, Fry, he needs to go to the IL or the minor league system. He can't hit the baseball with his Tommy John arm. Okay, let's just. I love David Fry. I think every Cleveland Guardians fan loves David Fry. He needs to go back to the minors or on the IL and just get fully recovered. Because the reason why he was so good is he could play anywhere. He could have played outfield, infield. Hell, he could have catched. He could catch. And he can't do that with his Tommy John arm, and so he can only play DH, and that's not good because Manzardo is usually full-time DH. So that's getting rid of time from Manzardo, and then Santana usually sometimes DHs and Manzardo plays first. That's cool. Just and then Tanner Bybee, he's had some struggles, but he's doing good. And then Ortiz decided that what, I'm gonna gamble. So we have Cantillo up. Cantillo, I like Cantillo. I don't know why people hate Cantillo. I like Cantillo. He's a young guy. He can throw the baseball pretty well. I like Cantillo. Our starting pitching is not the problem. I think it's just our hitting. Clase, he's not who he once was. Maybe he's going to take another jab at PEDs. I'm sorry if I meant offense to that. He was suspended for PEDs. Okay, let's just think about it for a minute. Okay, but Clase, he's just throwing too many meatballs, throwing way too many meatballs, and I think people have realized, oh, he's just throwing 102-mile-per-hour meatballs. Why not? I could hit that so easily. He needs to start using the cutter more, the slider more. I think Carl Willis has realized that. What's wrong with Cade Smith? What's wrong with him? Back spasms is what I'm hearing. Why isn't he on like the 7-day IL if that's the case? We've been desperately missing Cade Smith. Same thing with fucking hell. I'm just mad, guys. If you if you can't tell, I'm fucking mad because this team makes me go insane sometimes. Okay, and the front office is so fucking cheap that I have to deal with $130 Jonathan Rodriguez on my lineup. You know, I can't deal with that. I hated Nolan Jones before. You know, because Tyler Freeman is cooking in the Colorado Rockies system right now because you know I guess it's course and you know Tyler Freeman's getting all the play time he wants because the team is dog shit. But Nolan Jones is actually one of the better pieces on the hitting, and that's crazy because in the beginning of the season I hated that motherfucker. I thought he was the worst player on the team and he needed to get DFA'd immediately. That's what I thought in the beginning in, April and May. But now, I'll take his 220 bat. He hits a couple doubles once in a while. I'm taking that because that's what we need. Because our team can't fucking hit worth a damn thing. Hell, every game has. I don't think we've gotten over like 7 hits, like maybe twice. That's a concern. And I know maybe it's because, oh, we face good pitching. I don't give a shit. You're a major league roster. You made the ALCS last year. You should be able to hit the fucking baseball well. Am I crazy for that? You know? Like, imagine the Phillies. Let's just say that Schwarber gets hurt or something, and they just put in a minor league piece. No shot they don't trade for another Kyle Schwarber like player, right? Right, improve the team. Why isn't Antonetti doing that? Why isn't Dolan allowing Antonetti to go spend? Because Dolan is cheap, and we're gonna be dealing with this until he's gone, and I'm not ready for that type of baseball. So that's why I'm begging for Ravens football. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm biding my time. I'm getting back into anime again. I was on a little hiatus for a bit. I'm just gonna go do other things, cause this team will make me mad every fucking game that I watch. So I'm just gonna look at the score after every game and say, "Oh, we lost again." It's almost laughable at this point. Is this that the fact that we have Chase DeLauter 30-game base streak not on the team? Anyway, I've rambled way past what I thought I was gonna ramble. So I'm out. Goodbye.